Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm doing little May wrap up, and I honestly finished 2 series in the month of May, which is shocking. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like realizing it's 2 whole series, but yeah, I guess we'll get into it. The first book I read is The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. I still don't think I'm saying his last name right, but whatever. I read the first one at the end of April. Yeah, at the end of April, and then continued with the rest of the series. So in the first one, it introduces you to new characters, and part of it is that the gods took one of their memories. So he has no memory of anything, does not know who he is or where he is or what's going on. And so it's him kind of understanding what's going on. So then his name's Jason. So then in this one, Percy Jackson is the main character in the first series, and then he is the one who loses his memory in this one. So the whole point of it is that they want someone from the Greek side and the Roman side to switch places. So they do that by taking away their memory and getting them to like get to know the other side very well, because they eventually need to work together on this huge quest. Basically, so yeah, he has no memory. He meets these 2 other demigods, and they, I guess you could say, create like a quick friendship. With that, they go on a quest and, solve all these other issues going on, saving some gods on the way, and doing all these things. And they're basically just like learning, trying to figure out what the gods like want to do with them, like what's the whole point of all of this, and like why they're basically interfering. But I do want to say I gave this whole series 5 stars. I don't think I've ever done that before in my entire life. But the whole series was 5 stars, and I'm probably going to talk about it more because the next 3 books are right there. But I just think it's YA, it's quick, it keeps you like, in the book, and you have it's multiple point of views. Like, it's not just the one point of view, it's multiple point of views. It's, you get everyone's thoughts and feelings and trying to understand what's going on, and they're all confused because they really don't know who their parents are, like their godly parents are. So they're trying to do this to help their parents, but at the same time, they're kind of battling with why should we help them when they haven't, done anything for us, sort of thing. So yeah, it's like I don't know how to explain it correctly, but it's really just an interesting, like, sort of, I guess, battle that they're having in their minds. The next book I read was on my iPad, and I talked about sort of the series last month, but it was like tutoring the player, hating the player, something the player, and this last one was tempting the player. I only gave this 3 star, and I honestly, I just didn't like it that much. I don't know. I can tell you, like, between the 2 main characters, one's in college and the other one is out of college. He's like 25, 26, I believe. And I don't know, that age gap to me is just like, I don't know, like, something about it is just weird. Like, you're dating a college girl, but I don't know. It's just like a personal thing. But with that, it has like she's a celebrity, he's sort of like looking out for her, and he's trying to figure out who's threatening her and stuff like that, and try not to have a relationship, but it is what it is, and that's what ends up happening. It's the vibe, like always. But yeah, only 3 stars. It's that age gap for me. I don't know why. It's the, like, I feel like it'd be different if they were both out of college and the age gap was fine. But because one's in college and one isn't, it just like messes with my brain. I don't know why. I don't know why I think that way. I just do. So, yeah, I guess. The next book I read was The Mark of Athena in the Heroes of Olympus series. So it's the 3rd book in the series out of 5. And basically, we get all of them together. So we get the first people in it's like Jason, Annabeth, oh, Leo, don't remember the other one, Piper, And then you get like from the son of Neptune, you get Frank and Hazel and Percy Jackson. So they're all together now, and they, you know, they start this big quest. The whole point is because there's this big quest that says there's 7 people that have to, 7 demigods who have to go on this quest and basically save all of Olympus and do that sort of thing. So the whole point, this starts the whole, I guess, trip that they start to go on. So the whole point is that Athena, which is Annabeth's mother, has like this whole that has her statue stolen a long time ago, and the whole point is to get it back and get it rightfully back to where it should, and it should be that the Roman brings it back to the Greeks as a way of saying like sorry and as a forgiveness thing and becoming like allies, I guess. So that's the whole point of it. But they have to go travel to the ancient lands, which is what they call it, which is actual Greece at the time, and they obviously run into people who are trying to stop them, people, other gods who are getting in the way and sort of manipulating them to do what they want them to do, sort of thing. So it's just the everything. It's like a really big web, I guess is the best way to say it, a web of like multiple strings. Everything comes together at one point, but it takes all of that to get there. But in the end, sort of Annabeth and Percy end up falling into Tartarus. And then, so the next book, it sets it up for the next book because the next book they then start, we'll talk about that. But, anyways, so the whole time they're, battling people, trying to get to where they need to go. And it's still multiple POVs. You still get like a bunch of people talking about like their thoughts and everything that's going on. Then we have, like I was saying, House of Hades. So Annabeth and Percy end up getting trapped in Tartarus, and they have to find the doors of death. So the whole thing is that the monsters can't die right now because the doors of death are taken by Gaia, which is Mother Earth, and her like disciples, I guess, best way to say it. So they have to find the doors of death so that when they start killing the monsters actually stay dead and deal with this. And they have to deal and fight against not titans. It's I don't remember what they are. Giants. So the giants are like Gaia's children as well. They're titans, but yeah. Anyways, so they're fighting against the giants who each one was made to counteract one of the gods. So there's a anti-Zeus, anti-Hades, all of that stuff in the giants. So along the way, they're fighting those, but they can't actually kill them until they get the doors of death back. So this whole time, they're finding the doors of death, and you get them. Percy and Annabeth are in Tartarus, so they're going through this whole like really traumatic event because Tartarus is really dangerous and everything. And then the other half of the crew, well, the rest of the crew, not really half, is above land trying to find the doors of death on their side so that they can close it both at the same time. Along the way, they have all their fights. They have giants they run into, other sort of spirits, like wind spirits, sort of that they run into, and they have to sort of always battle and be aware of what's going on around them because someone's always trying to trick them and manipulate them and to do what they want them to do. So yeah, but anyways, towards the end, obviously it all works out. Through all this though, they have like specific like end dates, like Gaia wants to rise at this day, Gaia wants to do this time, like sort of thing. And while this is happening, the Romans and the Greek demigods at their camps are starting to get ready to attack each other, I guess, after something happens. Next book I read was Blood of Olympus, which is the last book in the series of the Heroes of Olympus thing. And then you get, throughout it, they're trying to save, like, another demigod, Nico, was caught and they save him in one of the books, so then he's end up, being a part of the crew a little bit as well. And you get his POV in here, and then because him and the Roman Reina are trying to bring back the Athena statue to try to stop the war that's going to be happening between the two camps. That ends up happening. And then the other two are, the rest of the group is trying to stop Gaia from rising, and it's said that they need blood of a boy and a girl demigod for her to rise. And through it, they accidentally end up getting that blood, but after a whole fight breaks out and the blood ends up dripping from someone's nose and just ends up getting that. So she does end up rising, but through that, the gods come down, and then, because the only way giants can die is if a god and a demigod kill them together. So the gods come down, help them fight, and then they have to make it back to camp to start the fight that's there, as well as stop Mother Earth from rising and taking over and decimating everyone on the planet. Yeah. Like I said, this whole series was 5 stars. Like, I was in it. I was in it fully in it to the day I die. I don't know. I love Greek mythology. I've said it multiple times, but I don't know. It just makes me, like, giddy, I guess. But, yeah. But in the end, you get, like, he explains who all the people are. Like, he explains everything so that, like, you have, if you don't know anything about Greek mythology, you can go and, like, actually understand who's what and what's going on, because they do interact with a lot of gods and a lot of lesser gods, greater gods, and a bunch of disciples and stuff of all of them, and they go against a bunch of, obviously, enemies that are all very different. So he sort of is able to explain it in a way that even if you know nothing, it doesn't matter. Like, you can still read the series and understand what's going on. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I explained this so badly because it feels like I read these so long ago and it wasn't even that long ago. So my explanations just definitely don't make any sense. They make sense to me, but people watching this, and potentially wanting to read this, they definitely make no sense at all. Oh well. Hopefully I'll get better at it. The next book I read was actually, I read another series. So I intended to just read Caraval in the month of May and sort of take my time with the series. And per usual, that did not happen. I binged the series very quickly. So, start Caraval. I'll read it to you so you better understand. Scarlet Dragna has never left the tiny island where she and her sister Tella live with their powerful and cruel father. Now Scarlet's father has arranged a marriage for her, and Scarlet thinks her dreams of seeing Caraval, the faraway once-a-year performance where the audience participates in the show, are over. But this year, Scarlet's long dreamt of invitation finally arrives. With the help of a mysterious sailor, Tella whisks Scarlet away to the show. Only as soon as they arrive, Tella is kidnapped by the mastermind, organizer, legend. It turns out that this season's Caraval revolves around Tella, and whoever finds her first is the winner. Scarlet has been told that everything that happens during Caraval is only an elaborate performance, but she nevertheless becomes enmeshed in the game of love, heartbreak, and magic with the other players in the game, and whether Caraval is real or not, she must find Tella before the 5 nights of the game are over. A dangerous domino effect of consequences is set off, and her sister disappears forever. So she gets the invitation, she goes, and she sort of is very hesitant to go, and her sister basically kidnaps her into going. And she arrives, she can't find her sister, she's freaking out a little bit, and then she ends up figuring out that her sister is the main thing she needs to find in this game. So through all of that, the fiance ends up showing up, and her father ends up showing up as well, and this whole thing, and she's just trying to find her sister and save her sister, and she gets obviously really enthralled in the game. is falling in love with someone she doesn't know is a character of the game. She ends up finding out is, and it's just one of Legends, I guess, players is what they call them. And so it's this whole thing. And she's not happy about it, but whatever. Basically, the ending to me, it just ends, right? So it ends, everyone's, fine-ish, fine-ish, best way to say it. And it sort of just ends, and I think what got me into the second book was that, like, they didn't really set up for anything. Like, I had no idea what the second book was going to be about, because all it is on the last page is the letter, right? And that's supposed to be the letter for the next book. That's how, like, the next book whole, like, fully gets going and all of that. And yeah, so now basically at the end, her and her sister Tella, Scarlet and Tella, are free of their father. They can now do and go wherever they want without being treated as horribly as their father did, because he was an awful human being. And with that, yeah, that leads us into this next book, which is Legendary, which is basically, this one's about Tella. So the first one's Scarlet's story, basically. This one's about Tella, and Tella decides to play the game as well, because she made, in order, a long time ago, her mom disappeared and sort of left the family, and they thought they just left her kids, but turns out she was, captured, blah, blah. So she makes a deal with this not so good person to help find her mother, and with that, she has to give him the identity of Master Legend, like the real identity of who he is. So she's playing the game of Caraval, I guess, this year. This wasn't even year, it's in the same year, it's actually within a couple of weeks, in the Empire that is, oh god, I don't know. They go to the Empire, and that's where the next game is happening as a celebration of the Queen's birthday. She decides she wants to play the game. She needs to win it so that she can figure out who Legend actually is. And then she ends up obviously falling in love like her sister did without really realizing it. And with it, the fates, the whole point is there's a deck of cards, which is the deck of destiny, and it has the fates locked in this. So that's the Prince of Hearts. It has it somewhere. Glossary terms, see? It has the Murdered King, the Undead Queen, Prince of Hearts, Maiden Death, Fallen Star, Mistress Luck, blah, blah, Lesser Fates, Fated Objects, or things. So in this card the fates are all trapped, and so are the objects and places and everything like that. And the whole point is Legend wants the cards so that he can kill the fates and gain all their power. So that's how he got it in the first place. But she wants Legend's identity so she can give it to Fate, who she doesn't know is a Fate until later on. Honestly, not that later on, pretty early on in the book. And with that, she's sort of grappling with what she should do the whole time, and doesn't really know what the best option is for her and for, like, her sister and everything like that. And everything gets sort of, I guess the best way to say it is mixed up together. Like, she's lying to her sister because she doesn't want her sister to know what she's doing and all of that. And so she falls in love, but the guy, awful, walks away in the end. And so they have, I guess, unfinished business is the best way to say it. And with that, the fates are then out of the cards as well, so they're on the loose, which brings you into the next book, which is Finale, which is the last book in the series. And so the fates are all free. Okay, so it says it's been 2 months that the fates are freed from the deck of cards, 2 months since Legend claimed the throne of the Empire since the Queen died, and 2 months since Tella discovered the boy she fell in love with doesn't really exist. With lives, empires, and hearts hanging in the balance, Tella must decide if she's going to trust Legend or a former enemy. After uncovering a secret that upends her life, Scarlet will need to do the impossible, and Legend has a choice to make that will forever change and define him. Caraval is over, but perhaps the greatest game of all has begun. There are no spectators this time, only those who will win and those who will lose everything. So with it, Scarlet finds out, like, their mother's alive. Like, they bring their mother back and sort of find out that Scarlet's father isn't their actual father that they grew up with and is a fate. So she has this sort of power that you get hints of in the first book, and you sort of get real more hints of it in the third one, that she sort of has this, I guess, power, because she's obviously born from a fate, so she has, like, whatever you'd want to say. Yeah. And so she finds out that her father is a fate, and the only way for. Anyway, she finds out who her actual father is, and with that, she has to do something that's really hard and is really questionable, and through that, she has to understand these powers that she has and basically figure out how to use them as someone who's never even realized she's had them before. With that, Tella is trying to figure out Tella knows who Legend actually is. You end up finding that out in the end of the second book. And with that, she's trying to figure out if everything that happened in the games is real or not, and all the feelings and stuff that she's feeling. She's trying to figure out what's going on. And it's a little confusing because it's like I want to, but I can't situation, like that, I guess, trope. That's a trope. It's like I want to, but I can't. Like, it wouldn't be a good idea. That kind of vibe. So with that, that's like sort of the vibe, and it's like we shouldn't, but we want to. We shouldn't, but like, yeah. Anyways, with that, it ends. Everyone ends up being happy. You know, they finish their mission. They complete what they have to do, and the whole point of the book is. And so, all in all, everything works out. With that, I would say I gave, what did I do? The whole series was 4 stars. Like, every single book was 4 stars. I feel like I've been really generous with how I rate books, and it sort of like came to the realization while reading the series. Like, yeah, I really loved it, but like, was it the most amazing thing I've ever read? No. Like, it definitely, I don't know if it was fully a 4-star. Like, I don't know. So I think going into June, it's gonna be very different. I'm gonna be more serious about my ratings and how I'm rating the books and everything, and like really just, I guess, sitting with myself and being like, how do I actually rate this book? You know what I mean? Like, how does this make me feel? Anyways, not that you need to know. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.